Bracken Darrell, the CEO for Logitech. So Darrell, please.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, good.
Very nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Well, it's very exciting to be here. And I'll answer the first question, which is, what in the world is a big old tech company like Logitech doing at a fast-moving, exciting startup conference like Slush? And the answer is a lot. And this week, in the last 7 days, not only am I here, but I was also at Web Summit in Dublin. And we intend to be in a lot of events like this. And we're doing it for a lot of reasons, and I'll come back to this later. But we're doing it to look for things to acquire, to look for startups to partner with, and to learn from you. Because as you'll hear later, I believe startups have a tremendous amount to teach larger companies, a lot more than larger companies have to teach startups. Now, first, just to gauge this, hold your hand up, or both of them if you want. How many people here are in a startup or are doing a startup? I'm just going to gauge the crowd here. Let me get down here and see. The lights are so... Okay, how many people are with a large company, what you consider a large company? Okay. And how many people are neither of those? So you're unemployed. Okay. I just wanted to, by the way, we're available, we have jobs. So I just wanted to gauge that. If you're doing your own startup, you'll pardon the analogy. If you're doing a startup, I love art, so I think of it as you're kind of creating your own work of art, or at least you think you are. Hopefully, you're bringing a tremendous amount of passion and excitement. You've got a vision, and at the end of your startup, or the middle, or whatever you want to call it, you're going to create something really unique. How many people know what this is? Okay. I won't ask you to guess, it's too loud in here, but or to shout it out, but most people know this is Picasso, this is Guernica. I put it up there because this is one of the most valuable paintings ever created. And if you go into your startup, you don't go in there to try to create, I hope, something that's really valuable from a financial standpoint. You try to create something that's incredible and amazing and has an impact on the world, on your community, on something. And that's exactly what we're doing at Logitech. Now, I literally had this done, and this is a picture of what we're doing. And you couldn't possibly read this and understand it, but every word in here has something to do with what we're trying to do at Logitech now to reinvent the company. And I'll come back to it, and I think this is available on the internet. You can pick out words and try to figure out what in the world we're up to. But here's our story. Our story started actually in 2 locations. It started in Switzerland, and it started in a little place in Silicon Valley. That little place was above a bicycle shop that most of you don't know, and it happens to be the same little place that these people started. That address should be famous one day because it's 165 University Avenue in Palo Alto, California. And that is the home of Google, the home of Danger, the home of PayPal, and the home of Logitech. All those companies started in the same building on the same floor years apart. It's an interesting story. This is our founder. He was a European. He was actually French-Swiss. We had 3 founders, 3 or 4 founders. 2 were Italians. 1 was French-Swiss. This is Darrell. And he moved to Silicon Valley with all the hope and promise of trying to be relevant in the creation of the computer age for consumers. And the rest is really history. So we started our company, as you know, you think of us, I'm sure, as a company that innovates around or created products around the PC. Obviously, we created the mouse and the keyboard and all those. Now, if you're a startup, we're an example of the startup dream. When the company was founded, they really didn't even know what direction they were going to go into. They started out in software, and they pretty quickly found this thing called the computer mouse with a guy named, with a Doug Engelbart who created it, and they started to do it for other people. And we started as an OEM company making computer mice for big players like Apple and HP and other companies. And we were absolutely the best, and we still are. From that very first product, we perfected the integration of hardware and software, firmware, into the programs that go into the computer, and over time, we became simply the best at doing it, and we grew, and we grew, and we grew. We grew to the point where, actually, we started with, the first year, I think we made 25,000 mice, and since then, we've made over 1 billion. We're the leaders now in every single category around the PC. And we're also into gaming. I listened to the prior panel. If you're a startup and you pull off what Daniel Darrell and the founders did, you're really excited because they went from 0 to $1 billion. They had their first $1 billion of annual sales in 2003. They were successful in 5 new categories, and as I said, became the market leader in all 5 of those. So it's quite a success story. But you didn't probably expect me to talk about how that success story stops there, because the truth is that success story came to a screeching halt in about 2008 or 2009, when the rise of mobility, the thing that's driving most of this conference, really hit us from the broadside against the PC and slowed and stalled our growth. We made mistakes. We did things that didn't work. And at that point, we had a big shift to make. We needed a new direction. And that new direction had to be something a lot more than the computer mouse. And it had to be more than a quick fix. Now, there's a lot of people working in Logitech, and we have been for the last 3 or 4 years. And a lot of people like to talk about turnarounds. And certainly we had to do a turnaround. But we're not here to talk about a turnaround, and we didn't come to do that. We came to talk about a reinvention. What's the difference between a reinvention and a turnaround? A turnaround, generally speaking, under my definition, is where you take a business that's in trouble and you get it out of trouble and safely stable. We're really trying to take a business that was in trouble and turn it back into an amazing growth company. That's a reinvention. Now I'm going to talk about 2 areas of this. What are we doing from a cultural standpoint, and what are we doing from a strategic standpoint? So start with the cultural standpoint. Now, I might be the most unlikely person to tell this story in the room, because I'm going to tell you that the biggest part of our turnaround culturally is to find a way not to be a big company. I spent my whole career in big companies, and very good ones. But I concluded something really important over the last 5 or 6 years, is that big companies don't do anything as well as a good small company. The only advantage they have is scale. And even that is sometimes a disadvantage. So with that in mind, when I came into Logitech, working with a bunch of other like-minded people, we started to try to stop being big and start being small. Stop being a big corporation and start being more like a startup like you. And we have a long way to go to really get there. But it's a mindset. So what do? We've removed layers, so we have less hierarchy. We have less bureaucracy. We have completely open. If you go to my office in Silicon Valley, you won't find an office. I have a table just like the one you're sitting at here in the front row. And nobody in that building has an office. Everybody has open tables to drive flat, fast communication. I'm a huge believer in this. And I could go on and on about what makes a big company tough. Small companies are informal. They communicate quickly. They're comfortable being very candid with each other. I mean, if you think about it on the smallest scale, if you're in a startup where you have 3 or 4 people, you don't worry about hurting each other's feelings too much. You know each other too well. The bigger the company you get, and the more people worry about feelings and politics and all those things. So if you're in a company of any size, my view is you have to fight all the time. You have to absolutely be at war with the bureaucracy that comes with more as you add people. And so that's exactly what we're trying to do. Now let me shift from the big company to small company story to talk about what it is we're really trying to do from a strategic standpoint. It's pretty simple. It's probably the same thing you're trying to do if you're in a small company or a big company. We're just trying to create amazing experience. You know, when we've been successful in the history of the company, it's about creating one product that one consumer uses and says, wow, that's a little better than I expected, or it's a lot better than I expected. That's the whole goal. That's the entire goal of Logitech, is to create that feeling for consumers. Now, to do that, I believe, you know, I'm a huge believer, as most of you probably are, especially sitting in the middle of the Nordics, in the power of great design. As I'll show you in a minute, you know, my whole goal here is to become a design company. And when I say a design company, I'm not talking about you know, Gucci or Armani. I'm talking about integrated design thinking, and really trying to think from a design standpoint first, from a consumer standpoint first. So that's what we're trying to do. I think the best example we have right now is this product. And this product is, how many people have seen this before? Not enough of you. Trust me, you want one. It's called UE Boom. It's one of our brands, Ultimate Ears. And it's a really cool product. It's an amazing experience. We have 3 products in this category now. This business for us has gone from 0 to, it'll be, you know, $250 to $300 million in 2.5 years. And it's a great example of an amazing experience. This Bluetooth speaker is designed for people, not for rooms. So the difference between where the world has been and where the world is now is in every time you listen to music in your life, except for a Sony Walkman or with earphones on, if you're listening to speakers, you basically went to a room, you sat down and you listened, or you danced, but you went into a room. So every speaker you've ever seen in your life was designed for a room, not for a person. Bluetooth speakers enable something different. Because you're totally mobile and your phone now carries an unlimited amount of music and playlists are automatically generated for you, now you need speakers that are designed for people, not for rooms. And that's exactly what the team's done. And so it's a circular speaker. It sounds the same from every side. If you're going to take it places, it should be waterproof, and it is. You should be able to drop it, kick it, you know, let it fall out the window of the car, and it should be okay, and it is. And it should last a very, very long time. From a battery life standpoint, it does. In this case, we've also built software into it, so it continually upgrades. So we've had 5 upgrades of this Bluetooth speaker since we launched it. You can buy a second one, and it will play in stereo with the other one. Soon you'll be able to buy as many as you want, and they'll all be able to play in stereo with each other. So this is the future of the kind of products we're launching. Now I'm going to take a minute, and we'll see if this works. So you can see it up here. I'm going to just explain to you what we're doing as a big old company to become small, strategically. Now, as I said, our goal is to become a design company. Now, when I say design, I don't mean good old-fashioned Armani. What do I mean? I mean advanced technology. Most people don't realize that Logitech is a technology company first. We're an engineering company first. We could probably do PCs or tablets or smartphones, but we don't. We know better. But we're a technology company. The second thing we are as a design company is we're very, very customer-centered. We're never enough, but we're more and more and more. And the third is we're that conventional definition of design, which is UI, UX, industrial design, all the classic definitions of design. Now we're taking that and we are applying it to 3 things. The first, now as you can see, I am not exactly Picasso, but the first is we're applying it to our PC business, which you'll notice I drew what looks like a lollipop to many of you, but it should be a tree. So in this tree, I think of our PC business as a tree. It's a big, declining tree, and we're the leader in this big business. It's going to decline. It's going to keep declining, but we're still innovating here. So we're innovating aggressively. we're growing our business, our market share here. We're maximizing our profitability here, and we're investing it in new things, which we call plants. Generally, these are in fast-growing categories. I'll give you a hint, the easiest way to grow is go into a category that's growing. So they're in fast-growing categories. We're in 4 of them so far. We just entered a 5th one. And in each case, we're going into things that we're trying to be one of the top 3 players in. Because the top 3 players tend to make money. The other thing we're doing is we're creating what many of you are creating, which is little startups. We've got 6 or 7. Naturally, we call those seeds. So tree, plants, and seeds. We're investing in those. They're run by one individual. In some cases, it's a former entrepreneur like many of you. And that entrepreneur then creates a team, leverages our go-to-market, leverages our processes, the scale that we do have, and works like crazy to create new businesses inside of Logitech. So as I said, we have 6 or 7 of those. We're killing things and we're adding things on a regular basis. One of the advantages of doing this inside of Logitech is we can put something to bed or put something on the shelf, and those people can go right into another job inside the company. So it's actually a very cool dynamic. I suspect, and I happen to be the CEO up here talking about it, but I suspect every company in technology more than 10 years old is doing something like this. So I'm opening the veil to what I suspect you'd see almost anywhere. So trees, plants, and seeds, and hopefully we're creating this business model that will continue. So this is the basics of what we're up to. And I guess I'll say, so far, I hesitate to say it's working. I should say it's working in quotation marks. So far, it's so far so good. You know, the jury's still out, right? Now, what's happened in the last 3.5 years? Our stock has gone up a lot. So it's almost doubled. It's about $15 today. It was about $8 when I started. It got down to as low as $6. So the stock is up. Our profits are up. Last year, our total overall EPS, earnings per share, were the highest they've been in 7 years. Our growth has changed. So if you look at really the future of our business, which is what we call retail, e-tail, 90% of our business, that business was declining about 8% in constant currency 3 years ago. And this last half year, it's grown about 10%. So I'd say it's too early to say this is working. I think it's not too early to say so far so good. We're very, very excited about it. We'll never relax. I'm paranoid about everything. And we're constantly and hungrily trying to find new and interesting places to grow. We're working across a very wide range of things. The last thing I'd say is, we've also changed the way we think about our product. In the past, you thought of us as this, which is a product. Now we think of this, which is the software stack, the analytics, the app, all the things underneath it. So I'm going to close here by first of all saying, it's really exciting to be in part of this startup world, and we're going to be deeply into it. Sometimes as an acquirer, often as a partner, and always as a student. I've learned more from the startups I've met with in the last 3 years, than I did probably in the last 10 as part of a big company. So I'll close here. I had a little bit more, but I'll close here. I think I'm out of time. I want to thank all of you very much. I hope you will buy Logitech products or UE products. Thank you.